The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Scheduled programming to bring you a show on the edge. Broadcasting worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Well, forgive me tonight, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm all over the board. A lot has happened to the banger, and I may have my thoughts jumping around. I tried to put together some show notes for you to keep me on track, but I have a feeling I'm going to wander from here to there. Let's begin with Mr. Donald Trump's week. He had a up and down week. He's been promoting it as a good week. I don't know. He had Kanye West in the office there in the White House. Kanye West, I mean, a blithering idiot. Why Donald Trump talks to these people, or at least in public, I mean, if he wants to hang out with them, just find a way to not do it so publicly. I don't know how this is going to help any upcoming election for one of the candidates Donald Trump is supporting. I don't see how this can change a whole lot of votes, Sure, certain people like Kanye West and look up to him for whatever reason, but I don't think that was a great move that Donald Trump actually did a public event with him. So we have that happened this week that made the news. I mean, it was just a disaster when you see the optics of it. But I can't complain about everything Mr. Trump has done, because a couple of things were in the right direction. He snubbed Feinstein and old Harris over there. Yeah, over those Democrats. They have some judges that are going to be put into the Ninth Circuit Court, and Dianne Feinstein and Miss Harris over there are a little bit angry that Donald Trump has snubbed them by not asking them who they thought were good choices. And I have no problem with that. Normally, a president will ask the senators and maybe even the congressmen of that state, hey, who's a good judge in that state? Donald Trump's not even going that way anymore. He's like, the heck with it. After what you did with the whole Kavanaugh debacle, I wouldn't give Dianne Feinstein or Kamala Harris. She's like the chameleon Harris. Any say in what future judges might be put on the Ninth Circuit Court, which is a liberal court. Now, this is my biggest problem with the courts in general, is we shouldn't have a liberal court, and we shouldn't have conservative courts. What we should have are non-politically biased courts, judges, who will rule on all the cases that are brought before them on a constitutional basis and a law basis. But if the law is bad, somebody needs to get rid of that, and that's where the judges are supposed to stop those laws from even happening. But we're well beyond that, because we have liberal courts now and we have conservative courts, and that's a huge problem. Another thing Mr. Trump did, and we're getting intense, folks. We always get intense here. Code Zero Radio, our affiliate in Iowa, is really promoting that angle. Trump is stepping up his attacks on the Federal Reserve because they're going to be and want to raise interest rates. I hate the Federal Reserve. Maybe this is Trump's first few steps towards doing something about the Federal Reserve. All this criticism of late. But I think he's only got a couple more years. I don't know I don't know if he's going to be able to handle the barrage of attacks that are going to be heading his way in about a year when the actual, can you believe it, we're up against, it just never stops in this country. The attacks that are going to be coming from the mainstream media and the left-wing politicians, everybody who's a die-hard Democrat, every one of those guys are going to be, and ladies, are going to be attacking Donald Trump more viciously than ever in about a year, because we're going to be going through yet another presidential election. I am so sick of elections. One right after the other. We got to elect people every year. Can't we have a day off, a week off, a year off from all these political hacks bothering us? Vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. I've got some of that later on some local politicians that I've tried to have on the show, and they're unresponsive to my requests. So we may talk about that later. But we have some really huge news here on the, this is just smacking, ladies and gentlemen, smacking America right in the face. Hillary Clinton over the past week, Eric Holder, remember that, the Attorney General during the Obama administration. Do you remember him? Both of them are out there pretty much inciting violence without actually, well, Eric Holder actually, in my opinion, is inciting violence. So Donald Trump had a up and down week. A lot of people will say he had a great week with having Kanye West in there. The guy's a joke. I don't know how rappers, is that what I have to do, Mr. Trump? Because I'd like a visit in the White House. I'd like to sit down one-on-one with you and talk to you about the issues that America faces. Is that all I have to do? Is I have to become a rapper? What would be my rapper name, I wonder? What do you guys think of YT? You know, the letter Y and the letter T. YT. If you say it really fast, it sounds cool. Say it like 3 or 4 times really fast out there. And you tell me what you think of my future rap name that I'm going to do a rap song in the future. I want to meet the president. I want to go into the Oval Office and sit down with him and talk about what the country needs to make America great again. I want to do that. So I'm going to do some rap. Why not? Let's create a rap song. I'll get Shady, I'll get Abu, I'll get everybody involved, and we'll do some rap song so I'll have some credibility with President Trump, and I'll be able to be invited into the White House to have a meeting with him and have all the cameras flashing, click, 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 click all over the place, and we'll get to discuss what making America great again means. I'm sure you, my listener, would just love, I know I would just love an invitation to speak with Mr. Donald Trump. I can't even get an invitation or a meeting with a local politician here. I have certain beliefs in why they don't want to come on the show, because if they came on the show, they would have to actually face some serious questions about what they intend to do when they gain political office via the vote. Because how many good people actually go into political service? Become a politician, a mayor, a congresswoman, congressman, a senator. How many people do that? Good people, the best of the best. And if the good people get there, how long is it before they're either corrupted or just pushed out of the government? Because when they get inside, they see how murky and how deep the swamp actually is. People talk about getting things done in the government. Getting things done. Do you know, I am one of the few people who are just fine with gridlock. That's right. I am happy with gridlock. Why am I happy with gridlock? That means we are not going to be screwed by whoever's in charge of Congress and the Senate and the presidency, them screwing us. In tonight's first clip, I'm going to play you a little bit of what Eric Holder said recently, but he was speaking publicly, and I want you to hear what this man is saying It'll shock you.
Says that, when they go low, we go high. No. When they go low, we kick them.
When they go low, we kick them. He's talking about his political opponents here. We kick them. Let me continue with this. To thunderous applause. Everybody in the room is applauding. Yeah, let's get them.
That's what this new Democratic Party is about.
That's what the new Democrat Party is about.
We're going to fight for the ideals of the Democratic Party.
Kicking people, attacking people. That's right, folks.
We can create for this country. And we're not in this just to make a statement. We're in this to win. Yes. All right?
But Mr. Eric Holder was just having his little speech in some little symposium of some sort, discussing, lecturing. How's that? He's lecturing a bunch of Democrats what to do, not the Michelle Obama way, which was if they kick you low, you stand above it and you'll be better than them. That was her words. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course. He's saying kick them, destroy them. Whatever they do, you go low. You become dirty. It doesn't matter if they are not going low. You go lower. Talk about inspirational speaking. Talk about inspirational speaking. Maxine Waters telling people out there that they need to go out and cause trouble and get in people's face. Don't let them be comfortable. You've heard that too, right?
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
So go out there, according to Maxine Waters, and cause trouble with everybody. And then according to Eric Holder, wherever they go, you go lower. You just, whatever works. Chase them down. And this is the new Democrat Party. And is this the party you really want to be associated with? You don't hear Republicans, for all their failures, for all their linguini-spined actions, you never hear the Republicans
and if you see anybody
call for these sort of things.
In a restaurant.
And we've already seen that Republican congressman who got shot, what was it, last year?
In a department store.
Or Rand Paul being attacked in his front yard.
At a gasoline station. You get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
That's where we have ended up in this country. And you can blame people like Maxine Waters, Hillary Clinton, because Hillary, don't be civil. We can't be civil.
You cannot be civil. A political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. That's why I believe if we are fortunate enough to win back the House and or the Senate, that's when civility can start again.
This is not some fringe part of the Democrat Party. These are the mainstream political figures telling their people, their followers, to go out there and harass their opposition in public. Take away all their freedom. If they're at a restaurant, bother the living crap out of them. Don't allow them to have a nice, peaceful dinner. Hillary, we can't be civil. You can't be civil. Holder, kick them, because that's the new Democrat Party. Do you understand what's happening in this country, ladies and gentlemen?
And if you see anybody,
an observationist like myself,
in a restaurant,
looks back, analyzes what I see.
You cannot be civil.
And I have one conclusion.
That's what this new Democratic Party is about.
The Democrat Party, if they don't win in the upcoming election, looks like they're going to try to push the country into civil war. Oh, yes, I said that. Civil war. I said it. Ooh. Who in their right mind, as a political figure, would incite this kind of behavior?
In a restaurant.
From their followers.
In a department store.
A lot of people who understand the French Revolution understand that these people are like the Jacobins. They are the Jacobins of our time. And the brown shirts
at a gasoline station
of the Nazi Party.
You get out and you create a crowd.
are going to be the people who create these mobs, who surround people like they did it with Ted Cruz at a restaurant recently.
You cannot be civil.
I think we're going to take a quick break, folks. We got a little bit more different on this, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things: local politicians, financial crisis, local news, and just so much waiting you. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Don't go anywhere now.
John will be right back right after this.
Yes, he will. Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine,
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled, and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now.
Hey, man, you're listening to the John Lebang Show, man. The place where chronic brain cell rejuvenation happens.
Feel like you're getting any smarter yet?
I'm getting so sick of discussing all these political issues. That's not why I started doing this in the first place. But we're stuck doing this sort of thing to protect what I think, at least because this is my show and it's my opinion on this show, to protect the good parts of America and to try to fix what has been changed over time that has really destroyed this country. One of them's the Federal Reserve. And I have a little teeny smidgen of hope that Trump, and he's got a lot to do in the next year, because the year after that, there is no way he's going to be able to get as much done because he's going to be campaigning for his reelection. We're at the verge of that. We still have this election to deal with, and then all the presidential stuff will start. We're going to start hearing who's getting involved on the Democrat Party, who's going to run. Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, a plethora of others are all going to be vying to run against Donald Trump. By the way, did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that your congressman is not paid by your state? He's paid by the Department of Treasury. I wasn't sure if you were aware of that, but that's the truth. So why would your congressman, who's duly elected in your state, even care what you think or do what you and your state needs when he's not paid by you? What kind of loyalty does he have to that state? So there's something we've got to change in the government as well. The state needs to pay the representative that goes up to Washington, D.C., and they shouldn't stay there the whole time anyways. They should be back in their state, finding out what their state needs. Screw having a residency in Washington, D.C. D.C. should be a part-time job. Your state's more important. You should have your rep working inside your state. But they're up there in D.C. and they only come home in like August and around Christmas. They take their breaks. Hey, it's nice up there. And that's where they get their paycheck from. All this is happening. And we had what would be considered a wild ride on Wall Street this week. Wednesday, 800 points in the negative. For the people who are listening to this maybe a week later, this is for the week of October 13th. The Dow closed the next day on Thursday at 500 points lower. They made a little bit back on Friday. Very odd, because I just told you last week, we're due for something. It's probably on the horizon, not far away. And blam, 2 big, huge days. Big, huge days. Now they're touting that the week was still plus a couple hundred points or whatever it was, barely a plus. And it's astonishing that more people don't take heed of what I say. It's not like any mainstream outlets are going to give me. I mean, not only do the mainstream outlets want to have anything to do with the John Lebang Show, don't want to touch it, but the politicians running for a mainstream position don't want to come on the show. Oh, yeah, I've attempted. Jeff and Patrick and one other. I don't know where they stand on much. They tell us on their Facebook postings. They haven't had that many public appearances by my count. They're probably running unopposed, or like for some of the public offices that are available. Not many people even care about those positions, so it's easy to win them. I've even thought about running for a few of them. Banger 2020. I mean, I shoot big, though. I don't want to be a lonely county executive of some sort, hold some, county commissioner office or whatever. I mean, that's just shooting too low. That's an easy one. I could get that without trying, get a free paycheck if I really wanted to. Are you kidding me? I'd verbally slaughter any opponents, and I'd challenge them to debates all the time. I haven't seen one debate for these other guys, or if the one guy might, Mr. Jeff over there, Jeff might have had a debate of some sort. But to get back on the financial situation here, because I'm jumping all over the place, and we got to try to stay focused, although I know I'm going to be all over the map. I gave you the warning in the beginning. But the New York Times just put out an article, "The world is due for another financial crisis." Was everybody listening to the John Lebang Show last week? I'm just asking. I heard some national radio hosts that echoed exactly what I said last week. And maybe it's because my show comes out on a Sunday. It originates on that day, and it beats all the mainstream guys because they're Monday through Friday. It beats those guys to the punch. So that should mean that more people should listen Sunday. I know it's tough out there because you've got the Walking Freds and all these football games that are so important, millionaires making all this sort of money, and they treat their fans like meh. You gotta pay them because they don't make enough money for a freaking autograph. You go to these events and you pay outrageous for concessions because tickets aren't bad enough. It's all you out there, little people out there that pay for everything. All the tax-paying people, you pay for everything because anybody that gets anything from the government is getting it from you. They just don't want to say it. They think the government's the generous one. Oh, it's the government so generous handing out food stamps, bridge cards, welfare, public housing, all that. That's not the government. Are you kidding me? That's the American people who has been generously robbed of their money. And to keep the mobs happy, keep the people that can't take care of their own lives happy, they hand them out money. Here you go. Here you go. When it's time to call you out, because we want you to vote Democrat then. When it's time to call you out to do something, we'll even pay you more because we can pay people to protest. And, I mean, that's another thing. I swear, the government needs so much work. And Donald Trump, there's no way he's going to be able to do it in 4 years because he's got one more year to do something. And then it's over because he's then got to go into campaign mode. And all bets are off after that. And as you can see, the Republicans who've had chance to repeal things and to change things before this election. And they had to do it because it's crucial. It's vital to get some of these things done. Like the abolishment of Obamacare. Nothing. That extra little tax cut that was supposed to come to us little people because of the 14% tax reduction that they gave to the corporations, who are in turn raising prices, of course, who are raising prices. And if you're looking around, even though they claim that we're at an all-time low, there are companies getting rid of people and who are, let's just say, very well off on their stock prices, like $450 a share, $400 a share, $200 a share. They're still laying off people. And they got a reduction in taxes. Where's our tax cut Congress, Mr. President, give us 14%. Oh, that'll blow up the deficit. Well, there's a way to get rid of the deficit, Mr. President. You were talking about it this week. Let's take out the Federal Reserve. Eliminate it. Abolish it. Totally get rid of it. Start printing our own money and loaning the banks the money instead of borrowing from the Federal Reserve. Why can't we do that? Guess what? When they're loaning money from us, they're the ones that are going to owe us all the interest, not the other way around. Woodrow Wilson either was totally stupid or is completely corrupt for allowing the Federal Reserve Act and the 16th Amendment to be implemented. All this because we're facing, the New York Times is saying we're facing a world crisis financially. The banger told you just a week ago to look for some kind of correction in the stock market, and boom, it happened. I'm no guru. Not at all. I don't even pay that much attention. I'm not even involved in the stock market outside of a 401k that I have at one of the places I have my day jobs at. The ones that pay for all this stuff. All the free information I give to you out there. All that stuff that I take the time to do it myself. I learn myself on that stuff. And I try to educate you on what's happening out there because the mainstream media won't do it. You can't even get Fox News to talk about it very much. Let's get back to the New York Times article because I'm all over the place. History suggests that the world is about due for another financial crisis. One of the places it might start, according to the growing number of indicators, is Italy. It has a boatload of questionable debt. The banks are weak as heck. It has an erratic government. Oh, an erratic government. And a sizable economy, ladies and gentlemen, able to inflict collateral damage outside the Italian borders. Remember Greece, Iceland, and what that all did? They didn't fix all that. They put a Band-Aid over a major problem. And don't put it past them to crash the economy so bad one day to where they implement digital currency. And there's a lot of interesting correlations between all these cryptocurrencies and the possible. Notice how they've all come into play right before the next big one. Oh, John, there's not going to be a next big one. Come on. You don't know history. Ever since the Federal Reserve has got their greedy little hands on our money system, we've had ups and downs and ups and downs. Good times and bad times. Well, we've seen some good times. It took a while to get here. And maybe they'll last for a little while longer. But eventually, the bottom's going to fall out. Because there's nothing at all supporting the financial system. And when that financial system collapses and it just falls apart, they're going to need something to fill the vacuum. And it's going to be a cryptocurrency. And it's not going to be Bitcoin because Bitcoin doesn't have the ability to handle the world supply of money. But there is a corporation out there. There is a cryptocurrency out there that can. And if you're diligent enough, and if you pay attention and research these cryptocurrencies and see who could handle the amount of finances the world has to offer if the entire economy of the world collapses. Who knows when that'll be? I don't know when that'll happen. But it'll happen one day. And these cryptocurrencies that are being born out of thin air are going to be there to replace the faux money. We're going to take our quick break here, folks. We'll be back with more after this.
Don't move a muscle.
John Lebang Show is right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes! Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning for a beautiful sparkling shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man.
Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
All right, well, next thing we're going to throw into the mix of the all over the map tonight is some super sloppy reporting about Operation Miss Safe Kid. The early reports were pushing a narrative that the 123 kids that were found missing in Wayne County, that they were part of a good deal of them were part of a sex trafficking operation. And then it comes out after that it was only 3 of the kids, and yes, it was terrible for those 3 kids. Most of these other kids were rounded up because they were on the street somewhere. But the misreporting, the blatant misreporting to get, what we call clickbait here, there's so much of that. Because everybody is dying to have more listeners, more people viewing their material. We all, in the media, wherever we are, whether we're mainstream manufactured news like CNN or Fox, or like the little guy like the John Lebang Show and whoever else covers the political world and the news that of the day. I had a Schmendrick on Twitter. I comment on a Michael Savage post, and Schmendrick, I don't know who this guy is, never heard of him, some patriot guy, I don't know, whatever. So it's giving me crap because I said that paid protesters, you remember this, ladies and gentlemen, paid protesters, that should be illegal. You shouldn't be allowed to pay people to protest. How is that protest legitimate if you're paying people to be there? Let alone those people that are being there are being violent and destructive and disruptive. We've lost all sense of civility in this country, and we don't even know what actual protesting is. Do you understand your right to protest peacefully? That doesn't mean you get in people's faces and shout them out of a restaurant. That doesn't mean you kick them when they're down. That doesn't mean you harass them. Harassing people is a form of abuse and violence, especially in today's standards where you can't say any specific word because it might offend somebody. So if words can offend people, then harassing people with words should be equally offensive. But we have Maxine Waters out there pushing the narrative to get in their face. Like that is supposed to help the civility of this country. The idea that Hillary Clinton thinks that we need to be uncivil, we can't be civilized, we can't talk any civility at all as long as the Democrats aren't in power. Wow. Talk about being a spoiled little brat. That goes a long way into telling you what kind of people are leading the Democrat Party. She was a hair's breadth away from the presidency, this woman who bashed all the women that came out against her husband back in the 90s, but then now she's behind Blasey Ford, even though Blasey Ford's got more holes in her testimony than Swiss cheese. And we have the mainstream media, which began this conversation with their clickbait titles, and they're pushing a narrative just to get views. I mean, like I said before, it's like shock value media. You get it with CNN. Look at the hurricane coverage. They're out there. Oh, look at the devastation. This is awful. And it is. But then they tell those people to get out of there. And shouldn't insurance, we talk about, we're going to have emergency spending to save all these people. I'm like, didn't they have insurance? Isn't that what insurance is for? To pay for a devastation? That is, I would think, I'm just me, most insurances pay for wind damage that I can tell. That is severe wind damage when your house is knocked over by a hurricane. So why aren't there insurance companies covering all the damage? They can't afford it, probably. The insurance companies' profits would go in the tank, and their investors wouldn't support them, and then they would be a bust. That's what it is. So the American government, which is funded by the American taxpayer, which is truly the people in the middle class who pay for everything. Well, corporations pay. Gee, they pass their taxes on to their customers through their products and services. It's not that hard to understand. Corporations don't really pay taxes. They take in a bunch of money. They figure in how many taxes they're probably going to have to pay for those items. And they just increase the price on the consumer to cover those taxes. So it's really the person who works hard every day, who works and makes money, who not only pays for their taxes, they pay for the corporate taxes because they buy everything. They pay for the welfare, they pay for the military, they pay for the space program, they pay for the roads, they pay for everything. The taxpayer. Yet the people who are pushing this narrative to go after people who are not of their political persuasion are going to be attacking the taxpayers of this country. Because it's not the poor person on the bridge card that's going to be harassed because they're out at a diner. No! They're going to be the ones harassing the people who are having dinner, who are paying for a nice quiet dinner at some restaurant. And when they're not at work, could you not harass them? That's like seeing somebody who works at Walmart. They pull something, they do something wrong, you get mad at Walmart for something, you yell at the employee. But then you see them out at the movie somewhere, and you yell at them even more about how bad Walmart is. They're out of work now. Give them a break. They have a right to do something outside of their professional life. I'm just saying. And we have politicians promoting uncivility against their political opponents. And this is only going to go one place, because we're either going to have to walk away, the ones that are being harassed by these mobs that spring up anywhere because Maxine Waters wants you to start harassing everybody that's not of your political persuasion. So the people that aren't will either have to leave the nice restaurant, not go to the movies, not go anywhere, stay home and hide in their house, or they're going to have to fight back in public. So they're put in a no-win situation. And if these people are harassing them, surrounding them, I mean, in some cases, like there was a guy in, I think it was Texas just recently. He was a military guy, or former military. He was at a restaurant with his wife and his children. I think there was 2 daughters. And he had a Make America Great shirt on. Well, there were 3 thugs that came up and harassed them and wouldn't let them leave their table. Well, I'm sorry, sir. That's kidnapping, or really close to that. And they should be charged with such. First, you're getting harassed. It's abuse. It's kidnapping. It's a whole lot of things that is un-American. You may have a different opinion from other people. You may not like a person's political stances, but you don't have the right to harass them in public. You don't have the right to... Where in the First Amendment does it say you can protest an individual? No, you can only protest the government, and peacefully. That means you don't break windows, you don't bust cars up, you don't surround people and push them around, you don't attack them, you don't get in their face and spit on them. If you have a protest, you hold a sign up, hey, we don't like this, and that's what you do, and that's it. You do it peacefully. You don't push the cops back. You don't resist arrest because you were a jerk. And you definitely shouldn't be allowed to be a protester if you're being paid for it. If there's a paycheck coming in somewhere, that should be completely illegal. That's what the troll got me for. The troll on Twitter comes in and attacks me, gives me... he thinks I'm supporting... This is how dense and how small-minded the supposed opposition is out there. And there's people on both sides of the aisle that are just fringe way out there. No sense of reality, no sense of civility, no sense of freedom. But this no mind on Twitter, okay, Kavanaugh's in, let's move on. He said Kavanaugh way back in the day was a paid protester. I don't know how you find that out, but if we can find out that Kavanaugh was, then we should be able to find out who these other people are. And the guy's giving me crap because I didn't say throw Kavanaugh. I said it should be illegal across the board. Kavanaugh's in as Supreme Court Justice. Let's move on. The guy didn't like that. So I gave him a little bit of John Lebang reality. Then he thought I was attacking him. He was playing the nice guy in his trolling, so that way when everybody sees it, because he's just trying to be popular. Michael Savage didn't reply to him. But I don't mind giving, firing back at the no minds out there. Told him, hey man, if you like to stalk me, bro, I'm sorry, I understand my rugged good looks and my dreamy eyes melt the hearts of people who are infatuated with me. I get it. But I don't need any more trolls. I don't need any more stalkers. Just go to Glenn Beck, dude. Go to Glenn Beck. Maybe he wants some more trolls, more stalkers. He's got the security for it. I haven't been back to Twitter since I made that last reply. I'm sure he answered back, and he's probably giving me some kind of garbage about whatever. But that's what you get with trolls. So when a troll trolls you, here's a way that I've been dealing with some of the trolls lately. I troll them back. And then I talk about the troll on the show. Not specifically who they are, because they're nobody. And maybe they're listening. I hope you're listening, you little troll, you little bugger. You're a scumbag. All right? You've got nothing better to do than to hang around on Twitter. I go on every couple days. When I have to promote a show, I go on. I don't do it to get my little worthless opinion out. Yeah, troll. I don't do that. I have my show. People can listen to my show. I don't force them to do it. I don't even force my show upon people by shoving my show in people's face. You want to come? You can come. I'll promote my show, tell you my show's on at this time, this station. This is what we're talking about tonight. You're more than welcome to join in. But don't think I'm going to let you troll me to death, because I know how to handle it. I've been doing this a long time. I know how to deal with trolls and how to make them lose their mind, and it doesn't bother me. But I love it when you see them start losing their mind, because then they follow you more, and then they talk about you, and then they build up my show, just like the Slash Nass guy way back when. His show went nowhere. Done. I don't even see a show being posted anymore. I keep tabs on my critics. We've got to take a time out, folks. A little bit more on the fourth segment this hour. We're going to talk about local politicians and how they don't want to talk to real media. We'll be right back.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Because the John Lebang Show will be right back.
After this.
That's guaranteed. Yes. Quality One Painting. For interior and exterior painting needs, call Tom at Quality One, 313-982-2986. Tom will give you free estimates, senior discounts, and I can tell you from meeting the gentleman, he's one of the nicest guys on the face of the planet. So for a quality paint job with a professional attitude, call Tom at Quality One Painting. That's 313-982-2986. 313-982-2986. Quality One Painting.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's what's cool on radio.
All right, welcome back, folks. Hope you're enjoying your evening here on the John Lebang Show in our, what we would call our news and talk hour. We usually knock out the weekly events in the first hour. We may touch on them in the second hour. That is for you who are just tuning in at this moment for the first time. Or maybe those trolls who are now listening to the show because I've enraged them so much that they've become a listener. Eventually, I will convert you guys. Trolls are loyal listeners. You have no idea, folks. They are so loyal because they want to come on and, criticize you and comment on your videos and make disparaging remarks in the chat room. They love doing that. And I don't mind having loyal listeners. Eventually, the brainwashing that they have endured their entire life will be broken just by listening to this show. Little bits and pieces will crack away because of the way I deliver the information. And I'll just chip away and knock it off. You can ask. Some people will even comment in the chat room. I know you're out there. They've come around. It may have taken a little while, but I sat there with the hammer and chipped away all their brainwashing. It was like a big helmet of brainwashing, right? They were under some kind of spell, and I had to break it away, knock pieces off, and it takes a while. You can't just do that in one episode. It's impossible. You're talking a lifelong indoctrination, what the mainstream wants you to believe. And a lot of times, as demonstrated here on the John Lebang Show, what the mainstream wants you to believe and what actually is are two different things. So sometimes it takes a while. In fact, I say listen for about 6 weeks, and the cracks will start showing in your brainwashing. And the light, you'll start seeing light at the end of the tunnel. If you're confused, if you don't understand what's going on in the world, if you're uncivil, come to the John Lebang Show. I'll help you. I'll help fix your problem. We'll get through the muck together. But you got to be willing to listen. And if that means you have to become a troll, go ahead, be a troll. You won't be a troll after a little while. You'll be like, wow, this guy makes sense. I know you wouldn't be the first one. John, I didn't believe you at first, but man, you're pretty damn accurate. It's not because I'm some genie, some prophetic guru. I just know how history works. And I know what actually happens because I don't. Just take the headlines and run with it. Boy, if we all lived off the headlines, it'd be like Twitter. The Twitter boy over here. He is itching for somebody to give him some attention on Twitter. So with that being said, going to move on because I want to talk about these local politicians running for these county offices and for for some of the state representative offices in the state Senate. And I've invited a couple on. They're posting all the time, on these community Facebook groups that pop up in every city. Every city has them, or at least most cities do. And forgive me, I'm dealing with some kind of throat congestion, chest thing. Oh, it's been a week, ladies and gentlemen. It's been such a week. Stressful, out of this world stressful for John Lebang. And I think it weakened me to the point where I caught a cold or something. Hopefully it's not, I'm not going to die from it tonight. I'd hate to be on the air and just have right in front of you and we're dead on the radio. It's not how you want to go. You don't want to shock people. We're not here in the shock value radio, That'd probably get me so many listeners, although they'd have to listen to reruns after that. But whatever, maybe that's how you crack through the brainwashing. But these politicians, get back on track. Geez, I'm all over the map. These politicians or would-be politicians, because I don't think either one have been in politics. I could be wrong there. I haven't studied them. I wanted them to come on my show. I'm going to ask them direct questions, and I want them to answer it. So that you, the listener, who's here in Michigan, which I have 3 stations on, ladies and gentlemen. There's 3 stations here in Michigan. So these politicians who disregard me, who won't give me the time of day, they'd rather talk to Frank Beckman or somebody on 760 AM, which sure gets a lot of people. I understand it gets a lot of people. lot more in Detroit than John does. I get it. But I have a whole different array of listeners on Alien X Radio in Detroit, Indie Radio Network in Mount Pleasant, and our news station over there in Muskegon. We have our listeners, and you shouldn't disregard them, you would-be politicians. So I've asked them on. One guy at one time said yes, because I actually know this guy personally. I worked with him many years ago. And he was like, oh, we'll do something in August. I says, well, I'm up for it. Let's do it. Well, week before we were going to do it, I sent him a message, and he must have listened to my show and realized that I was going to ask tough questions. Yeah, because he didn't even respond to me, and he doesn't want to respond to me. So then in September, I sent him another message. Hey, man, come on the show. I'd like to talk about what you plan on doing if you're elected to office. Nothing. The other guy, the Jeff guy, the Joneser over there, he won't even respond. I'm nothing. If you're not on 760 or one of the big stations, you don't freaking matter. It doesn't matter. Your listeners don't matter, no matter how many listeners are listening. And even if my listeners did matter, they wouldn't care. It's not like I was asking the guy to be on for a 3-hour show. They could call into the show, talk to him, ask. I could ask 4 or 5 questions. 4 or 5 questions. Let them promote their website so people can go check them out. Go check them out. See what they're really about. They didn't want to do that. For whatever reason, John Lebang's not big enough. He doesn't have a big enough audience. We don't want to target his audience. We want to discount him and his audience. And I take offense from my listeners, because my listeners are just as important as any other voter in Michigan or any other state for that matter, or over in England or in Australia, wherever they are, they vote. You'd think these politicians in a small race, where here in Michigan, especially 1, 2, or 3, or 4 votes may take you from winning to losing, especially how contested some of these races are going to be. But no, forget it. We don't want to. So Patrick, you know who you are. If you're listening, I'm sure you have listened at least once, and that's why you won't come on after you agreed to come on. Mr. Jones are out there. You won't even respond to me. That's fine. I won't endorse you. In fact, I'll endorse your opponent. Hopefully they're a third party, because if they're a Democrat, I can't endorse them. But it's really, really, really sad that a person who wants and tries his hardest to disseminate the truth and give a voice to the person who doesn't have a voice, or who doesn't think they have a voice, because they're not a Republican, they're not a Democrat, they're not a Green Party member or a Tea Party member or this or that or the other thing. They're just an independent person who wants good people in office. That's it. Good people. That's all we want. Good people in office. You go there, 1 term, you're out of there. Get out. Let the next person go in there. And the person that wants to go to whatever political office to get something done, that's not the person you want, ladies and gentlemen. Those people are all about an agenda. And people with agendas are usually part of a larger political movement. And that political movement normally are not in your best interests. I put out this offer to any local politician, whether you be in Michigan, in Florida, New York, California, Las Vegas, Seattle, Chicago, because 24.7 is back on the air, and guess what? The John Lebang Show is now back in Chicago. Iowa, Alabama, Connecticut, Maine, the United Kingdom, Australia, the Netherlands. If you're a politician, or a would-be politician, or somebody who wants to make a difference in the world, contact the John Lebang Show. We'll give you a voice, but we're going to ask you questions. And you better be ready with some decent answers, because we're not going to let you slide by giving some politically bullcrap answer. People are tired of the traditional politician who goes in office for an agenda. Well, we're tired of it. The listeners of the John Lebang Show are many. Don't underestimate us. If you want to get your voice out, if you want to come to a show that'll be fair but ask tough questions, this is the show that you should be contacting. We'll give you a voice. Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, Green Party member, Constitution Party, whatever party, the BS Party, bring it on. We'll talk to you on this show. My listeners will be glad to hear somebody have the courage to come to a show that's going to ask real questions. And if it's not some shady agenda, you'll be proud to talk about it on a show like mine. Otherwise, you'll avoid shows like mine. And you'll go to the show that asks the softball questions. Or you just won't go to the show, and hopefully there's not enough voters to oppose you. A lot of these smaller, and that bothers me as well. Learn about these smaller offices that you need to vote for. Don't leave those blank, and don't allow a person to become unopposed and have free reign to do whatever they want in whatever political office is available to just steal. And that's where you, the listener, need to learn more about who these people are and get involved in the government. Don't let these people control our lives. The only way to do it is to get rid of the Democrats first. It's a simple plan. Get rid of the Democrats. Make them obscure. Then we need to work on the Republicans. We can't take them both down at the same time. We can't. I just don't see it possible for enough people to vote against all the Democrats and all the Republicans. Plus, we don't have enough independents to fill those voids just yet. So we work to take out the Democrats. Then after we take out those linguini-spined Republicans, they will be easier than the Democrats. The Democrats are the virus that needs to be attacked and destroyed. Because they're going to destroy you. They're coming for you. There's no civility, according to Hillary Clinton, Maxine Waters, Eric Holder. They're never going to be civil until they have power again. We saw what the quest for power did in the Kavanaugh situation. All those hearings, no facts were presented, but he was guilty to the whole Democrat Party. And look what they did to Blasey Ford. If her story is true, they leaked it out to the media without her consent. If that's true. Or she could be just another political hack, which that could be true. Just like all these politicians that are running for office who don't want to come on the John Lebang Show because they're probably all political hacks and they don't want to face real scrutiny because their words are probably as hollow as the salt mines are in Detroit. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, for the John Lebang Show this hour. I'd like to thank you all for joining me. Also, I'd like to thank all the affiliate stations who carry the John Lebang Show. 3 new affiliates in the last 3 weeks. Mighty impressive. We're picking up steam again. Don't forget to go to my website. That's www.jlebang.com. Feel free to check out the archives there. We've got stories now. I mean, the website is loaded for bear. It's not like these websites that are made by some of these stations. I'm confused. I mean, people need to talk to John. They need to go to my website, and I'll give them pointers on how to make a better looking website. Because a picture of your face, and that's it. And the click here button is really not a very good website. Just saying. There's no content there. So with that being said, until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, and for some of you, that's in the next hour, where you will hear special guest Kevin Holly joining us. This is John Lebang signing off.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again. again next week. Same time, same space, same station.
Resistance